thought about the influence of your family on your marriage relationship? Well, like it or not, our families of origin do influence our marriage. You know, and you see this come out whenever you're in a family celebration. And as we look at celebrations that are coming up, it's time to take a look at that influence and how can we find healthy ways to mitigate the negative and influence more the positive. You know, think about your Aunt Janet, who just drives you crazy because her talk is all about her. Or what about your cousins John, Susie, and Jack, who get into a political argument every time, and it's so intense that you want to cover your ears and run screaming into the next bramble bush. Anything would be better than having to listen to that conversation. And you know, when that happens, you wonder, does anybody else's family feel this awkward? Or is it just mine? Well, I got to tell you, even the best family relationships, and I consider my family of origin to have been pretty healthy, but there's still some dysfunction in there. And the reason is we're all human. Therefore, we have issues. We all have issues. And it's not just the other people in the family. You and I have issues as well. We all have chaos. We all have brokenness. We all have healthy things. We also all have the oddballs. And we all have weird ones. And we all have the ones that we love to be around. So how do you navigate, cope with, and learn from these family relational influences? Well, the first thing is to ask God to show you the truth. Sometimes we've been in a pattern with our families, whether they're good, bad, or ugly, and we just get stuck in that family dynamic. Well, I've been with people, and I've listened to people in my coaching who tell me, well, my dad never made a mistake. He was always this wonderful. And I happen to have a wonderful dad, but I knew he was human. And then they talk about somebody else in their family who just is lazy and is never going to amount to much. And we tend to label people within our family, and we even get labeled. I don't like labels on me, and I know that you don't like them on you. So none of those statements are true. And it's time that we ask God to show us what is the truth. And then to start to extend grace to each other. Now the second one, this one might be even harder than the first one of asking God. And this one is to ask your husband what he observes in your family. Scary, right? Well, Dave and I do this a lot. We talk with each other very frankly about our families and the influence that has been on us. You know, I see things in Dave's family that he doesn't see because he grew up in it. And it's the same way for me. But what that helps us do is evaluate the good, evaluate the not so good, and decide what God wants us to take into our family and continue that tradition. If it's not so good, we just acknowledge it and let it go. The third one is to accept the weirdness. Your family and mine are unique. No family has the corner on odd behaviors, no matter how wonderful your family is or how bad you think your family is. You need to accept it. You don't have to live the same way as your parents did, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunts, or uncles. But you do need to treat them with respect because they are human and they are people and they are part of your family. The fourth thing is to acknowledge the unhealthy behaviors. I don't know about you, but I'm not perfect. And there are times that my behaviors are definitely unhealthy. So when you see that, see it for what it is. In fact, when I get really nervous, sometimes I just blurt out things without even thinking about them. Talk about embarrassing. Well, thankfully, I'm learning that when I get nervous, I need to calm down first before I say anything. Well, the same thing goes as you relate to your spouse. He might be responding in an unhealthy behavior because of something from his family of origin, or he's struggling with something in that cycle of shame. He knows something's wrong in his life. He doesn't know how to fix it, and he's in that cycle. You get in that cycle too. So maybe it's time to try to dig deeper behind what's going on and accept them and try to find the solution instead of just judging them and saying that, they're unhealthy and escalating the situation. And that leads us to point number 5, which is to apply disarming tactics. We've all been there. two people are in a conversation and they allow their emotions to take over so that they start attacking each other and forget what the issue was that they disagree about. Things get heated quickly and it gets really uncomfortable. I don't like those situations. But Scripture reminds us that calming words disarm potentially volatile situations. So maybe you can change the subject. Maybe you can draw their attention to some amusing thing that the kids are doing right now. Or maybe you can suggest a totally different activity that disrupts that conversation. But don't join into it. Whatever you do, try to apply some disarming tactics. The sixth thing is to adjust your emotional response. You need to practice emotional intelligence. Family relational dynamics are hard to break. I get it. When you get together, do you feel like that 9-year-old bossy little sister who was always tagging along and didn't fit in? Well, guess what? Your brother's not that same person either. You've both grown up, I hope. I hope I have. And when I get in those family dynamics, I need to extend grace to the other person and allow them the fact that they have matured and changed, just like I have. So it's as you continue to work on your emotional intelligence and knowing who you are at this moment in time, you learn to extend grace and kindness. And you can switch your focus on how to bless your family instead of being it on you. The seventh one is to allow for differing opinions. Whenever you have two or more people in the room, not everybody agrees. And that's a good thing. We need to switch our thinking from the fact that if we disagree, somebody's wrong and somebody's right. Not unless it's a biblical truth like do not steal or do not kill. You both have your own opinions and that's okay. And that's what makes life so enriching and interesting. Differences are good. Listen to them. Practice active listening. You might learn something that you didn't know, and it will help you grow and mature. The eighth one is avoid internalizing unkind words. Wow, this is a biggie for me. How often do you hear something and accept a barb in your heart? Or worse, did you overhear part of a negative conversation and just immediately assume it was about you? Well, if you do that, that kind of wound is on you. And that caustic remark probably wasn't even about you. You were listening in on something that you were not part of the original conversation. So sometimes we say things to another person out of tiredness, anger, frustration, fear, disappointment, jealousy. Go on the list. It's all there. But that doesn't mean you have to accept that wound. You can choose instead to diffuse the situation with grace, mercy, and love. Work through those unkind words with the one, Jesus, who made you and would never be unkind. And if you find yourself caught in this situation that you just can't get out of this cycle, maybe it's time to contact an unbiased third party like a coach or a counselor. The ninth one is alter your response. You don't have to accept that unkind barb, but you can alter your response. You have complete control over which of these familial influences you accept and you reject. And just because it's always been this way in your family doesn't mean it needs to be continued that way. You can be the catalyst for change. You can draw out good situations. It also goes the same thing for your husband and in your marriage. You both bring unhealthy patterns from your families of origin into your marriage. You don't have to continue them. When you and your husband start pushing each other's buttons, what are ways that you can change how you respond to that? You don't have to rise to the occasion and escalate the battle just to prove your point and to be right. Instead, find ways to look beyond and to find a resolution, to be the peacekeeper, to be the one that brings peace into the marriage, to honestly discuss the situation, but not allow it to escalate into past negative behaviors. The 10th one I love is anticipate joy. All right, I know you've probably been to too many family reunions. You've traveled across country, and you know what's going to happen, right? Well, maybe not. This time can be different. In fact, you can be the one that makes the difference. Think about those family members that you're excited to see. Make a point to spend time with them and just not get entangled in that other stuff that usually goes on. One time, my husband and I were visiting with family, and there's always more than one table. There's the adult table and the kids table, and sometimes there's a mixed up table. Well, Dave and I decided to sit at the kids table. The reason was the adult table was already full, and we just thought, oh well, we'll sit with the kids table, we'll have fun. And you know what? We had a blast. It was so much fun sitting with the kids, and we've heard from a lot of the kids later that they had so much fun sitting with us and learned that we could be fun too. We weren't just stodgy old adults. We switched it up, and that's one of my favorite family memories, was that dinner where we sat at the kids' table. The 11th and final one is adopt a new understanding. It's time to look at your family influences with wide open eyes. What can you control in those family influences? The only one is you. You can let go of the past patterns, negative behaviors, and expectations, and decide today to make a change for the positive. Look at your family honestly. No one is perfect, so you need to drop that thinking like a red-hot poker. Let it go. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Not one single member of your family is perfect, so let it go. Accept the fact that not everyone in your family is going to exert a positive influence, but they can strengthen you. So if you're struggling with some of these dysfunctional family relationships, it's time to make a change. And here's what I encourage you to do. Look honestly at your family. Now here's an easy way to do it to start with. Grab a piece of paper or a digital device and open a new document on it. And on that document, on one side, you're going to, if you want to, you're going to divide this paper in half. And on one side, you're going to say life-giving relationships. And then on the other side, you're going to say, these make me crazy. Okay? Now, jot down your thoughts on both sides of the paper. If there's specific names, write them down. This is just for you. You're not going to show this to anyone. But who are the ones that are life-giving? Which relationships bring life to you? You can't wait to spend with these people. Jot those names down. On the other side, do the same thing. Who are the people that just absolutely make you crazy in your relationship, in your family, even in your husband's family? You can do this for both sides of the family. You're going to struggle with people, and the struggle isn't wrong. It's what we do with the struggle that matters. Then write down, especially on both sides of the paper, write down what it is about these people that either gives you life or makes you want to go jump in the next rose bush. Okay? You can't stand it. Now I want you to pray over both of those lists. Think about the ways that you can bring honor and glory into the negative relationships, and be gracious and thankful for the ones that give you life. If you need to talk about about the difficulties in your family, or you're just really struggling because there's some huge dysfunction, I offer a free 30-minute consultation. You can just hop over to my website at KirstenDSamuel.com. That's Kirsten, D as in Diane, Samuel, Samuel, and click on that big blue button. Let's talk. You can choose what influences to accept and which ones to reject. So I pray today that I've given you some ideas that can help you begin to bring healing into those relationships that need healing, and that you will be the catalyst for life-giving relationships within your family and within your marriage. Until next time, have a great day.